Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you 10 books that will make you feel positive. So totally I've got 5 fiction books and 5 non-fiction books in this list, and since most of you guys who are my viewers are more interested in the fiction books that I talk about, I'll be talking about the 5 fiction books in the beginning and then I'll talk about the non-fiction books. So without any further ado, let's get into the books right away. The first book I'm recommending today is one of my recent reads from last month. And it is also a very famous book, and it is A Man Called Uva by Fredrick Backman. It's a literary fiction book which just is a character examination of this main character named Uva, who's the center focus of the story. He's an old man who's 60 years old and he's lost his wife just 6 months past, so he is dealing with the grief that he has after her death. There are also many negative things that are going on in his mind, and he wants to commit suicide in order to go and join with her very soon. There are many things which set Uva off from his track, and this entire book is just a heartwarming journey rather than anything, if you ask me. You might think that if it is a book about suicide as one of the main points, how it can be a positive book. Trust me, it is definitely one of the most positive books that I've read so far. The whole concept of the book is just something like, even if you think that you've lost the dearest thing or the dearest person in your life, there's always something to live for no matter what happens, and there's always someone who cares for you, even if you think otherwise. So please do try this book. It will not only make you feel a lot cozy and comfortable inside yourself, but it will also give you a huge sense of hope which will increase your positivity as a whole, and you will be able to see a lot more brighter sides of your own life. The next book is one of my most favorites from last year, that is 2020, and it is Clapham New Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. Now this is a book that's written in verse, and we deal with the story of 2 teenage girls named Camino and Yahaira, who have the same father but they have different mothers. The twist is that both of these mothers, they know that their husband has another family living in a different region of the world, but both the children do not know the existence of another half of their family. So the book starts with one of the main characters, Yahaira, being called to her principal's room and being informed that her father has died in a flight crash, and because of this, the existence of this another half of the family comes to the knowledge of both the children, and both of these families, they have to meet during the funeral of the dead father, and from then on a sibling relationship starts happening. The exploration of the family dynamics in this book is really great, and also since it's a book written in verse, it will be very quick for anyone to read. Even if you're a beginner, you'll be able to fly through this book. If you're a person who reads a lot more books, trust me, this will be a single sitting read for you. Also, since it's a young adult book in which both the main characters are just 17 years old, there's a lot more for them to expect in their life, and the thing that you're facing now is difficult, yet from that difficult thing comes out a really beautiful thing which they both are going to love and adore for the rest of their lives. So it will definitely be a book which will make you a lot more hopeful and positive, so please do try this out. Next one in the list is The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse by Charlie Mackesy. I actually listened to this book on audio, but I've heard that the book is really much better compared to the audiobook in the physical version. So if you can, please do buy the physical copy of the book and read it out, because it's an illustrated book, and also it is a book that is suitable for all age ranges, starting from 2 or 3-year-old children to adults of any range, because it is a book which shows how we can live in order to make our life as well as the people around us better and happier and just grow together. It is a very heartwarming book, and I can say that anyone, no matter what their age is, we can learn something or the other from this book because it is very beautifully written. And since I've listened to the audiobook only, I was not able to see through all the illustrations, and I definitely want to purchase a copy of this book and own it for myself, because while I listened to the audiobook itself, which was narrated by the author himself, it was so heartwarming, and it hit each and every point that the author was trying to hit in the perfect way. If I could just feel so good and so much in my skin after just listening to the audiobook, I'm sure that if you read the physical book, it'll just elevate the experience a lot more. So please do try this out, and I think everyone in the world needs to read this book. The next book that I'm recommending is a very infamous one, and I do think many more people have to read this book because it's not just very inexpensive but also really, really good, and it is A Family Christmas by Flynn. I actually got this book for free. It is in between historical fiction and literary fiction, but I'm sure that if you are a person who likes reading very cozy books which will just make your heart feel so warm, I'm sure you will love this book. It deals with these 2 kids named Jimmy and Mo, who are living with their aunt because their father is working in a different country, and he sends money every month to this aunt in order to take care of the children. But what ends up happening is that these 2 children, they are totally mistreated by their aunt, and they are just ripped off all the privileges that they are given by their father through their aunt. And what happens one day is things become very bad and they escape out of the house, and they are helped by this lady named Glennis, from which the plot progresses on and many things happen. I can say that this is not definitely a book which is unpredictable at all, because you'll be able to predict most of the things that are going to happen in the next few pages, but that predictability of this book is something which comforts readers a lot, if you ask me, and it also shows how kindness that you show for someone whom you don't even know can entirely change the course of your life and make it far better. And also some of the bad things that you have experienced right now just happen because you can appreciate all the great things that you are going to have for the rest of your life. It is such a wonderful book if you ask me. Once you finish reading this book, you'll just feel so happy and you'll start to appreciate all the things that you have lying around you. The last fiction book that I'm recommending is definitely a very cliche book, and believe me, I read this book last year and I did not like it, and I reread this year and it changed all my opinions on the book completely. And I'm talking about The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. In this book, we follow a shepherd named Santiago who has this dream which shows that if he goes and finds this pyramid, there is a lot of treasure inside that pyramid which will definitely change his life financially to a great extent. So he goes on and takes this journey in order to find the pyramid and get the treasure. One mistake which I did while I read the book for the first time was that I thought the intention of the book would be delivered towards the climax, but trust me, this is not a book where you have to concentrate more towards the beginning or more towards the end. It all matters how much you enjoy the journey of this book. That is the portion in between the beginning and the ending. I did not know it for the first time, but when I read the book for the second time physically, I was able to understand that this book shows us the importance of the things that we are going through rather than the things that we are trying to get or the things that we experienced in the past. So if we understand to live a lot more in the present and start appreciating the things that we have around us, they'll definitely take us towards the place where we want to reach, and that place will be something which will be much more better compared to the place that we want to be. So definitely try this one if you're a beginner or if you're not even a beginner, because I genuinely think this book has the capacity to change lives. It might even change the course of your life. Who knows? Moving on to the non-fiction books, the first book that I'm recommending is Attitude is Everything by Jeff Keller. Now, Attitude is Everything is not just a book, it's also a huge brand. I'm recommending this book specifically because it is really short and it has 12 chapters in which the author tries to explain to us 12 lessons, and each and every chapter is just around 10 pages long, so the entire book is only 120 pages. And another important thing which I like about this book is that the author draws in a lot of his own personal experience on dealing with his attitude and how he changed it from the negative thing that it was to the positive thing that it is right now, and how a small change in your attitude and a small change in the pattern that you think can change a lot of things in your life very easily. He explains most of the things with anecdotes and examples, so you'll be able to understand and see how an effect it can have on your life. I also have a video on the top 10 takeaways that I got from reading this book. I'll try to link all the review videos or some videos that are related to the books that I'm talking about in this video in the description, so you can go and check them out if you're interested. Please do try this one because it is definitely a book that is worth your time and it will also change the way that you think. The next one is The 5 AM Club by Robin Sharma. It is very famous as well, and trust me, it is a very genuine book if you ask me personally, because I've tried most of the things that the author has talked about in this book by waking up 5 in the morning, and it has definitely changed a lot of things in my life personally. I was able to experience them over a period of time. It is not like magic, okay? If you wake up at 5 AM tomorrow and try some of the things that the author says, it's not going to change your life the very next day itself. It's going to take a little bit of time, and the author talks about many rules and formulas that you can follow in your daily life in a really lucid way, and you can change your life for the better for yourself as well as the other people around you. It also has this portion in which there are some practices that you can do in order to inculcate the greatness thought inside yourself. I read this book once last year and I'm planning to reread it sometime this year also, because it was a really great book which did change a lot of things for me personally, and I am very grateful for this book for that itself. And even if you're a beginner or if you're a person who doesn't like reading non-fiction books, I'm sure this will be a book for you, because everything that is non-fiction that the author is trying to put forward in this book is told via a fictional story. So even if you're a person who gets a bit bored by non-fiction books, this will definitely be one for you and it will help you a lot. So please do go and try it out. The next one that I'm recommending is The Little Book of Hygge by Meik Wiking. This is also one of my recent reads and I listened to it on audio. It is also a very visual book, so if you can buy the physical book, please do try it out in that way, because there are a lot of images and pictures which are embedded throughout the book if I'm not wrong. I've not looked up for images of the book online, but I do think there are many images in this book if you ask me. It just explains of how Denmark manages to be the happiest country in the world. It is said that statistically speaking, the Danish are the happiest people in the world compared to any other average person living in any other country across the world, and the reasons behind their happy mindset and what are the things that they do in their daily life itself as a routine in order to keep themselves happy, and what does this concept of being Hygge means and what is the concept of leading a Hyggely life means is all that's explained by the author. I'm not saying that everything that you read from this book is applicable for all the people across the world, because there are multiple conditions which make this book very suitable for Denmark alone and not for any other country. But there are some things which are common in terms of trinkets that you can take from this book and you can use them in your daily life. It's not going to change anything massive in your life, but even the small changes counts when it comes to developing a positive attitude, and I do think this book will help you collect all those little trinkets. Next one is an OG book, if you ask me, when it comes to talking about positive books, and it is The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. I read this book also only last year, and while I started reading the book, I went in with a lot of low expectations because it was really too much hyped, and I did not expect that it will live up to the hype that it was getting from many readers. But trust me, it is a book which is very much worth the hype, and I felt a lot more positive just while reading the book itself. And when I tried to implement some of the things that were talked about by the author in this one, since it's also a very old book, everything is very granularly explained and everything is clearly detailed in this one. You should definitely read this book very slowly, and you should try to imbibe all the things that the author is trying to convey to you. He talks about various scenarios and various things that he has actually experienced in his life and with people that are living around him, and all those things just zero in 2 points. The first one is your mind is so much more powerful than you think it is, because even if you visually see proof of how much powerful it is, it will not be believable enough for you. And the second one is that everything that you think manifests, whether it be positive or negative, everything that you think and want always manifests, no matter what you think. And it is our responsibility in order to think positive things, in order to make our lives positive ourselves. I've recommended this book many times from the time I read this, and I don't ever regret reading it at all, because it is over the top so much, but it is definitely one being worth the classic, and I'm sure it will definitely stand the test of time also. The last book that I'm recommending today is one of my personal favorites, and it is Kigai, The Japanese Secret to a Long and Happy Life by Francis Miralles and Hector Garcia, translated to English by Heather Clary. Now this just talks about a small village in Japan named Okinawa, where most of the centenarians in this world and super centenarians in this world have been discovered to live. It's definitely a comfort book for me. Personally, if I want to feel positive, I just pick up this book randomly and read some page from it, because always there is something in this one which just boosts my mood and makes me feel positive no matter what my mood is. So I've recommended this hundreds of times in the channel already, and I think I will be recommending it even many more times in the future also. I've read this book already 4 times, and I will be reading it again and again in the future. So if you're interested, please do try it out, because I personally think that there are many things in this book which you can definitely include in your life and change it for the better. So yes guys, those were the 10 books which I think can make you feel a lot more positive. And if you do have some recommendations, please do let them in the comments below so that others can read it and also I can get some new recommendations. And if you did enjoy watching today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel, because I publish new videos every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.